The 2025 Weibo TV and Internet Video Summit was alive with energy, the buzz of cameras, flashes, and excited murmurs filling the enormous convention hall. Stars moved elegantly across the backstage corridors. Stylists and managers hustled through tasks, and reporters whispered eagerly about the latest pairings and rumored romances. Shen Yue held her phone tightly, scrolling through messages that had piled up during the day. Her manager had reminded her to stay focused, but she couldn't resist checking the texts she had received over the past few hours. One in particular had stood out, leaving her uneasy and contemplative. She wasn't expecting anyone to notice, certainly not Dylan Wong, but something made her fingers tighten around the device a little more than usual. Dylan Wong had been moving through the same backstage area, blending with the crowd, but still managing to spot her out of the corner of his eye. Something about her demeanor caught his attention. Shen Yue's usual calm composure seemed slightly off today. A subtle tension ran through her shoulders, the way she held herself, the way her fingers drummed nervously on the phone screen. She didn't see him approach. She was focused entirely on the device in her hand. The hallways blurred, the chatter faded, and all that mattered to her was the screen, the message she was considering replying to, the tiny thread of conversation that had unsettled her. And then it happened. Her phone slipped. A small, almost accidental drop. Her hand had loosened for just a fraction of a second, and gravity did the rest. The phone clattered to the floor with a sharp tap that drew the attention of nearby staff. Shen Yue gasped, bending quickly to retrieve it. But Dylan had already caught sight of the screen. He froze. His breath caught. Time seemed to slow. What he saw was fleeting, almost accidental, yet it struck him harder than anything he had imagined. A single message preview, partially visible as she picked the device up, spelled out words that shocked him to the core. He could read only a fragment, yet it was enough. "I can't stop thinking about you." If he knew, Dylan's hands clenched subtly at his sides. His pulse accelerated. His gaze followed her every move, careful not to make her notice, but unable to look away. Shen Yue didn't realize what he had seen. She tapped the screen absent-mindedly, scrolling, unaware that her secret had been exposed in the briefest, most vulnerable instant. Her eyes flickered nervously toward the exit. The crowd and staff continued their backstage chaos. Yet she felt suddenly exposed, the intimacy of her private conversation hanging in the air. Dylan's mind raced. He tried to process what he had glimpsed. The implications were immense. His chest tightened. That message wasn't meant for him, yet it revealed something raw, unfiltered, and undeniable. Someone had penetrated the space between her thoughts and emotions, and Dylan was confronted with it, uninvited but fully aware. He stepped closer, cautiously, but careful not to alarm her. Shen Yue, still bent over her phone, did not notice him approach. He watched the way her fingers trembled slightly as she typed a reply, how her lips pressed together in thought, how her brow furrowed with the weight of a choice she was about to make. He could see her vulnerability, the side of her she never let the cameras, the staff, or the world witness. And in that moment, he understood something he had been trying to deny for months. He still cared for her more deeply than he had ever allowed himself to. Shen Yue finally straightened, holding the phone to her chest. She exhaled quietly, trying to calm herself. That was when Dylan stepped into her line of sight. He didn't speak immediately, simply observing her. His expression was calm, but his eyes betrayed the storm inside. Shen Yue, his voice was low, controlled, yet there was an unmistakable edge of emotion. She froze, her gaze snapping toward him. "Dylan," her voice was a mixture of surprise and apprehension. He took a careful step closer, maintaining a respectful distance. "I saw your phone just now." Her eyes widened slightly, panic flickering for a moment. You saw nothing." His expression softened, not with judgment, but with concern. "I saw a message. Part of it. That's all." Shen Yue's lips pressed into a thin line. She clutched the phone tighter. It's personal." "I understand," Dylan replied. "I don't want to intrude. But I can't lie, I was shocked." She stared at him, unsure whether to be relieved or terrified that he had seen the truth. The truth she had hidden so carefully from everyone, herself included. The truth about the unresolved tension, the lingering feelings, and the invisible threads connecting her heart and fingers. Dylan continued, choosing his words with care. I don't know who the message is for or what it means, but seeing it, it made me realize something I shouldn't have ignored. Her chest tightened. And what is that? That I still care. About you. His voice was quiet, earnest. Not boastful, not confrontational. Simply honest. Vulnerable. Shen Yue blinked, the weight of his confession colliding with the residual shock of what he had glimpsed on her screen. Her heartbeat quickened. Her fingers twitched on the phone as if she might drop it again. You care? Her voice was barely above a whisper. Yes. His gaze never wavered. And I can't pretend I don't. Seeing you like this, it's impossible to ignore. Shen Yue exhaled slowly, a mix of relief, fear, and anticipation washing over her. She had spent so long trying to control her emotions, to maintain distance, to convince herself that detachment was strength. But standing here, watching him stand there, she realized that none of it had changed the truth of their connection. I didn't mean for you to see that, she admitted softly, finally letting a fraction of vulnerability slip through. Dylan stepped closer, careful but deliberate. You don't have to explain. I'm not angry. I'm just aware now, aware of what I've been feeling, and aware that I can't let this go unnoticed anymore. Shen Yu's eyes filled with tears she hadn't realized had formed. The adrenaline, the tension, and the raw honesty of the moment overwhelmed her. She tried to speak, but no words came. Dylan extended his hand, not in demand, not in force, but as an invitation, a bridge across the distance they had maintained for far too long. Stay, he said simply, right here with me, just for a moment. Her fingers hovered over his hand. The phone still rested in her other hand, a tangible reminder of the vulnerability that had just been revealed. She felt the pull of every suppressed feeling, every lingering thought, every silent confession that neither of them had spoken aloud. Finally, she set the phone down on a nearby table, the act symbolic, deliberate. She looked at him fully, allowing herself to be seen, fully and without pretense. Dylan's expression softened, relief and gratitude mingling in his eyes. Thank you, he whispered. She nodded, voice trembling slightly. I didn't mean to hide it, but I was afraid. I know, he said softly. I know you were. And I was afraid too. That's why I couldn't let you walk away again. The room seemed to shrink around them. The chatter, the flashing cameras, and the busy staff blurred into insignificance. All that remained was the unspoken understanding, the shared vulnerability, and the undeniable connection that neither could deny.